Welcome to part two of our quarantine depression, COVID depression, um, two-part training. Today, we're going to dive into what treatment options are available to you and which ones might be right for you and which ones are not right for you, because this is a question I think a lot of people are trying to answer inside their own minds and chasing the tail just with monkey mind. And so I want to help you to share what I know from my years of experience about the different sort of options that are mostly available to anybody and which ones might be a right fit for you. So grab a pen and paper, come and join me. And you guys say hi. You may not be getting notifications about this, about these talks in the group. If you are not getting notifications and you are watching this from inside Consciously Created Motherhood, go inside the group into where it says settings. Inside the group, I think it says settings, and then there's some settings that are just specifically per group, so you can actually select within Facebook. In Consciously Created Motherhood, I want to be notified when Honor goes live, or I think that you can do it that way. So, or it might say admin, but you can turn that on, set it to on, so that you don't miss a live talk. If you aren't paying attention, you can get a notification for that. Okay, so that will help you make sure, even if you come back for the replay, still getting the notification is going to help you to not miss something. All right, if you're watching from YouTube, you can join the Consciously Created Motherhood group on Facebook, and that's something that you can do to catch more talks and be a part of them live. So you guys comment. I can see people are here, so say hi, give me a wave or a thumbs up when you're here so I can see you. And now we're going to go ahead and dive in. So I'm going to cover three different types of treatment for this anxiety slash depression overwhelm that so many of you might be experiencing right now. And I'm so glad to have you join, because nothing can change without your desire to change it and without a decision that you make in your own heart to get more out of life, to not let your life have control of you, or anxiety or fear have control of you, right? So I'm glad you're here taking steps to get more clear about that. And this is the first step, is to show up and open to receiving, right? So of the three types, I'm going to start with the first one, which is the easiest one, and in some people's minds, the best one, because it requires little to no effort at all, save a phone call to your doctor, or maybe driving to an appointment to see your GP or whoever, or going to a clinic. That the easiest, the lowest effort, and and it's usually almost free, and lowest investment of your time, of your money, of your energy is medication. Okay. A lot of people who reach out to me have at one point tried medication. And as you may know, if you have tried it, there are lots of different experiences with medication. The experiences run the gambit from I felt a total relief of symptoms instantly, and then that changed over time and didn't stick. Or I had terrible side effects, increased my anxiety, felt out of my mind, felt out of control of my life more so than I normally do, and it was terrible. And now I know I can never do that again, and everything in between. And medication can be, as some of you know who've had success with it, can be a really, really nice band aid fix. And it can only ever be a band aid fix because by design, the drugs are created to eliminate or alleviate temporarily the symptoms that you're feeling, whether it's panic disorder, whether it's anxiety, whether it is depression, whether it is hormone imbalance, whatever you're on medication for, by design, they are, and if you think about the industry, like by design, it's a temporary fix. and they are not designed like as in some things through functional medicine or through other forms of natural medicine. They are not designed to resolve what is causing the symptoms. Now, I know this may be obvious, and maybe you've already realized this before, but I'm going to walk you through it anyway. Because when you really think about that, then it's bringing all of you to the table to make a choice about whether you want to go that route or you don't want to go that route. And zero judgment from me about any of this for anybody, for me or for anybody. There have been times in my life when, before I knew what I know now and knew how to practice and teach what I do now, when I was on medication for chronic migraines. This was many, many years. I was on medication for chronic migraines because I could not show up and work a job and have any kind of social interaction and live my life in the light of day without maintenance. What it's called maintenance drugs, maintenance medication. And so I'm no longer on any of that, praise God, and have worked through and have many other tools now that are in my own power. And the thing about medication that I know, this is something I hear a lot from women, is that either I'm scared to be dependent on something like a pill or anything, anything outside of me. I'm scared to be dependent on that. I want to know how to get those kind of like, I want to know how to change the way I feel without having to swallow a pill. I don't like the idea of masking what I feel. And this happens to so many people, especially with anti-anxiety and antidepressant medications, that what happens is you feel so numb. You feel in such a haze because you are not, you are, the medication is numbing you out and you don't have access to your true self, the way your true self feels. Even if right now your true self is just spinning in anxiety, you still feel like you at least know how you feel. But when medication numbs out symptoms, when it either blocks pain receptors or blocks, I won't go into any of that, but when it basically, when it masks symptoms, it gives you that temporary fix. It's an illusion of fixing because nothing's being resolved. Nothing at the root cause is being changed. So your body, you're just giving yourself this like temporarily altering the way that the chemicals in your pharmacy, your body is a brilliant pharmacy, the way that your body's processing those chemicals. Okay, so the on the upside, medication, prescription drugs require little to no effort. Let's be real about that. A phone call, a drive to the pharmacy, and swallowing something once a day. That's pretty easy. A lot of people who are not ready to put in more effort are going to try that first, right? Or that's all we know, so we're going to try that first. And I know that's where I was when I was, thinking of the migraines like that. That was what I knew. I went to a migraine expert, and that was the path. And I never even considered that there were unresolved energies, emotions, and sort of patterns in my thinking that were creating, or in my being, just the way I was being, that were resulting in this incredible pain. But that is what was happening for me. So on the upside, easy peasy, right? No effort, so easy. And maybe it might work. Like you might feel better, and that's all you need. And what you want is to feel better enough to keep everything else the same in your life, right? Some people are there. Sometimes we're there, and so the band-aid is perfect. On the downside of medication, by design, they treat symptoms. So they don't treat cause, they don't resolve symptoms, they don't create healing, they don't create a solution, and they don't teach you anything. Pills don't teach you anything. So you're still in the same growth, sort of in the same skill level as you were before you went on medication if you stay on it 2 years. And all right, you got that piece, right? You guys, I cannot see anything. Are you guys commenting? Are you here? Are you just lurking? I think I have lurkers today. It's okay. Lurk away. The second piece is a second treatment option that I want to name today for you. What a lot of people go to when medication doesn't work: therapy, or counseling, or talking to their pastor, or or couples work, right? Marriage or couples counseling, or maybe like couples retreats. So let's cover this one again. Pro and con. The uh, on the upside, the pros is if you go to therapy or counseling or talk to your pastor or someone else, a coach, go to coaching. You are likely, hopefully, going to have someone listen to you and someone validate how you feel in the present moment, right? And I think this is what causes a lot of people to go running to therapy. I don't feel heard. I don't feel listened to. My mind's a jumble. I just want to make sense of it. I feel overwhelmed. I am out of control. And usually, you know kind of what the reason is that you need the help, but you don't exactly know what to do about it, right? So a lot of people will do the legwork to find someone to go speak to. So upside, someone listens to you and they validate how you feel, right? I mean, if that isn't happening, if you've been to therapy and you don't feel either of those things, just run, don't walk for the door. Okay, get out of there. So that's at least need to be happening in your therapy. Um, Downside. So a con of going to therapy, one, it's typically open ended. It might be, I forgot to say too, on the pros, it might be free for you, as free as in cheap, like your insurance covers it. So again, almost no effort. You just have to show up and then you just get to talk about what you want to talk about, right? So if you're paying out of pocket, there's a little more commitment there. So we're getting beyond the commitment of medication, and we're getting beyond the commitment of going to insurance covered therapy. We're paying something for it. There's an energetic exchange. So you've got a little bit of skin in the game, meaning I want to make it count, right? It's not okay for me to just go and have nothing happen. All right, unless you have unless it isn't enough for you to actually have skin in the game. Okay. I talked to someone last week who said like maybe it's like $50 to go to therapy in their area, and if that is the case and that's kind of no big deal for you, then it's not going to be enough skin in the game for you to focus and get mad when you don't get something out of it. Right? That's the purpose of the energetic exchange. You're going to show up and get the results. And so on the downside, when you are spending, it's about like maybe 45 minutes of focused time on you with a professional every week. It's basically the equivalent, like my analogy, the way I see it is kind of wanting to learn to swim, but every week you go to a lesson and dip your toe in the water. And then maybe you get to your ankle, and then maybe you dip your leg into the knee. How long is it going to take you to learn to swim if you do that each week? It's going to take a long time to learn to swim. And the reason why people go to therapy for a year minimum, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, a lot of clients who've been for a long time to therapy, and we're talking, at market rate, 8,000 a year or more to go to therapy. Nobody adds it up, but that's what it is over time. Uh, if you're really committed. And in that relationship, there's someone who listens to you, someone who validates you. There is someone who hopefully you trust and have a good connection with and a good relationship with. So that time feels good. That's on the upside too. Feels good, right? Or maybe it doesn't feel good because it's painful to weed through what's not working. The downside is that often in that boundary time, the point is to focus on the problem. And what I hear again and again and again is that people are with their therapists and They are venting or talking about the problem and then analyzing it, kind of just analyzing the problem. So you might gain some insight, you might gain some understanding of the dynamics of your life or of how you work. Like you might gain some insight and wisdom about that and receive empathy from your therapist for how you're suffering. But what many people are not getting in therapy is resolution for the suffering, meaning lifting you out of suffering. What you're not getting is the plan and the how and help putting those pieces together. And the analogy for swimming and dipping your toe in the water is so accurate here because the model isn't designed and built. Like the model for therapy is not designed and built to teach you the how and the nuts and bolts of shifting your thoughts and feelings. And it, most often, there's some very focused sort of forms of therapy. It's not in the mainstream though. In the mainstream, it's really a model of like, let's see how you feel after. If you felt like that helped, then go again. If you feel like it didn't help you, then don't go again. And who is the expert in that? You know, it's a little bit, it's just very willy nilly, and you get to stay in your old patterns of self sabotage or in your kind of indecision or wishy washy energy. And there's no one there to hold you accountable for that and to help you to shift out of what's hard about that into a more elevated kind of thinking or into a more elevated kind of feeling or processing. Okay, are you guys with me? Is it making sense? So that's the downside of therapy. It can go on for a long time. You can pay a whole lot of money, and and you can also then not be clear on what your results are or what has actually changed in a concrete, tangible way in your life. And a lot of people go to counseling and talk about the problem, which flows more attention and energy to the problem. And there isn't any solution there waiting. You just kind of leave with that problem energy and take it back into your life and keep sort of tripping over the same things. And that I hear again and again and again, which can be so frustrating. I will give a caveat here, which is that sometimes, and some of you probably have reached out to me and I've said, go talk to somebody one to one. Sometimes when you're on the heels of a crisis or when your life is total chaos, meaning you're not functioning, you need to meet with somebody one on one who can help you to get your feet on the ground and just look around and see where you are and what you're wanting. If you don't know at all what you feel, if you don't know at all what the problem is, if you just know that life is a disaster and it keeps happening to you that way over and over again, and that generational traumas are just snowballing and replaying themselves for you, and you're drowning in that, then feel free to reach out to me. And I may say, go and talk to somebody one to one about this before, but that it's a it is a step that for some people is really important in getting into connection with what even is the problem, what even is not working for me. And sometimes in the trajectory of our development, what we really need is just to be heard so that we can then decide what to do after that. Okay, so that's my one caveat about therapy. And if you don't know if that's where you are or not, then I'm happy to help you to suss that out. So you can reach out to me about that or message me. And then the third kind of treatment, so the first one, medication, the second one is counseling or therapy, open ended. And then the third type of treatment, you guys, is what I'm going to call transformation. And transformation is the experience of moving from your life working one way, where you feel not seen, not heard, overwhelmed, anxious, maybe out of control of your feelings. So, yelling at your kids, being stuck in anger and resentment toward a partner. From there, across this bridge to another place where you are clear, you are light, you are confident, you are more productive, you are at a baseline of calm and know how to be in control of yourself, of what you feel. You might not always know the answer instantaneously, but you know how to find it. You may not be able to control your kids' behavior, but you sure can invoke a strong connection and respect and cooperation from them a very high percentage of the time. Instead of trying to hang on and control and manipulate everything so that things feel okay to you, you are able to really trust that when you stay connected and plugged in to your own values, to your own voice, when you're able to express that with ease, that the ripple effect will roll out to your family and your home will feel like a much more peaceful and pleasant place to be. And I want to say something, and this is the piece that I do. Like, this is the work that I do with my clients, and not everyone's ready for that. Like, just absolutely true. Not everyone is ready for this. But the people who have already decided, often before reaching out to me, I don't want to stay where I am. I'm ready for action. I'm ready for tools. I'm ready for you to teach me how to put it together. The decisions are to be made in your soul, that you're not going to keep doing to your kids what you've been doing to your kids. And then you reach out to me at that point. We hit the ground running, and the change is quick. Within 2 to 3 weeks, often, people are experiencing great relief, great lightening of symptoms, clearer understanding of what they're wanting, and a knowing how to have it knowing that they can have it and how to have it. And I show you the how of all that. I want to share with you a little bit about the difference between how I work versus sort of older models, because I want you to know that there is another way, that there is a form of treatment which calls on your highest truth, your clearest knowing that you are the perfect mom for your kids. And I know that's a stretch. It's a stretch for a lot of people when they come to work with me. You are the right mom for your kids. There is no one else who could do what you do. And for you to daydream about they'd be better off without me is so I feel my heart just breaking open when I hear women say that. It's the farthest thing from the truth for your children. It's your thought. It is not how they feel. And it is not true for them. What is true for them is that if you are healthy, they're going to get to be healthy too. That they're going to feel secure and loved and stable and complete and whole if mom learns to experience herself as whole, as enough. Okay? So I teach my clients how to bring in the structure with the flow, meaning the how to calm yourself down, the how to replace those kinds of monkey mind and chattery loops that have you chasing your tail and being really unproductive, how to calm down and quiet that down so that anxiety drops, so that you are clear-headed, so that you're able to make good decisions and not second guess and doubt, so that you slow down internally, meaning calm down, ground, slow down, get clear, relax your body so it's an okay place to be, so that you're more productive, so that you're more efficient. Okay? And it's a bit of a process. We do it in 12 weeks. And I wouldn't expect everything in your life to become shiny and perfect because we're humans. But what I do expect, and what happens predictably, is that you build a baseline of calm. You create a place inside of yourself where you can always go, that is safe, that is calm, that is grounded, and you know how to get back there anytime. So, in essence, your emotional home is something we can transition and transform from depressed, overwhelmed, out of your control, to into your control, knowing how to create that, knowing how to maintain that, so that you always have a sense of balance that's within reach, You always have a sense of what's mine and what's not mine. And you are knowing what you want versus what someone else wants you to do. You have that strength within you to be clear about what works for me and what does not work for me. What works for my kids and what does not work for my kids. Right? Does that make sense? And so when you slow down your thought process, when you slow down and clear the emotional clutter, might be yours, might be mom's, might be dad's, might be your partner's, your husband's, could be your kids' stuff you're carrying around. You got all this stuff and you're just dragging it around and it's heavy. A lot of that's not even yours. Not even yours. And when we clear that and get you in alignment with your heart and your mind and what's really true for you, wow, what I see is so much grace, so much compassion, so much efficiency, and so much smoothness coming in. And that then transforms your relationships. So, in contrast to numbing out symptoms, we are tuning you into what's really you and what's not you. So, you can ditch what's not you, tuning you into what's you and giving you power and control over those dials. And then, in contrast to sort of open ended focusing on the problem, we're creating solutions. We're rewiring you from overwhelm to joy. That's a solution, if you ask me. We're resolving at the level of cause what is creating all the stress in your head that's then becoming manufactured stress and overwhelm in your everyday, in your work, in your home, in your marriage, right? It shows up everywhere. It's really pervasive. And when we resolve that at the level of cause, then what you're creating is whatever the heck you want: fun, calm, ease, real authentic connection. Okay? So that's the third treatment option, is to not just treat or not simply mask symptoms or talk about them, but to resolve them and to transform your motherhood experience from feeling like, do I even want to be here, to this is the greatest stage of my life and I know exactly why. Here are the reasons why. This is the time in my life when I'm going to be able to access more power than I ever have before, to find my voice in a bigger way than I ever have before, to use it for good, to teach my children how to be the best humans they can be, and to see that in action and feel amazing about it. There's nothing like that kind of intense connection that we get to have as moms. We have it waiting for us, begging for us every day, all day, right here. All our people want is to have our undivided attention right now in the present. They want to feel a heart to heart connection. And there are teachers for that. If we don't know how to learn it and we don't know how to get it, then we need to upgrade our skill set so that we can fix what's not working, so we can start enjoying that and taking advantage of that. And to me, what better way than to show up for your kids than to show up for you? What better way to enjoy your life than to commit to having fun for yourself? Because then everyone else gets the benefit of that, right? So I want to hear your questions and I will check back since they're not posting now. Drop them below. Tell me when you listen. Send me some likes and some hearts, and ask your questions. I will circle back since I'm not seeing anything now, and I also will invite you to reach out to me. Book a free coaching call, 45-minute coaching call, and there's no charge for that. And I'm going to love on you and help you to get really clear about what is not going the way you want it to, and what are you wanting instead. And if I can help you to get there and resolve what's causing the issues for you, then I'll absolutely tell you that and might invite you to work with me. I'll show you what that looks like and we can talk about what the commitment is. And if you're not ready for that, or I can sense that there's something else you need first, I'm going to guide you to that. Okay? And I'm going to give you a little homework. Sort of doing that more and more lately, sending out homework assignments. So reach out to me. You can message me, or you can just go straight to my calendar and grab a spot on there if you are really ready to connect. And that is www.honorjanetsky.com /call. I will drop it in the comments. Okay. All right, you guys. I hope this was helpful. Tell me if it was. Leave me your questions. I'll come back and answer. And you guys have a beautiful